good evening, everyone. Good evening. It's Rail Matter. Hello, lovelies. It's an unusual one tonight in that I'm here to talk about the changing of the name of a venerable institution, one that I'm immensely proud of, that I care very deeply about. It's something that's obviously very close to my heart, and that is, of course, changing the name of the RIDC to Test Tracks. Of course, I'm Test Tracks is yep, look at it, isn't it beautiful? Look at the double arrow, look at the Rail Alphabet 2 but bold so that it actually looks good. Look at this, gaze upon its beauty. The height there of the double arrow is 1436 millimeters, which is immensely satisfying. It's big. But 2,300 millimeters wide. Just look at it. Isn't it beautiful? He did it, folks. It's part of a much bigger picture, and it's happened thanks to a lot of people working very hard. But the thing that Network Rail brought me in to do, I've been doing, and there's no better way to see that than a 10-meter wide sign that says Test Tracks on the side of a big building. What a work of art, isn't it beautiful? No, of course, I'm pulling your leg. We're here to talk about other important institutions that are extremely important to the railway that I care very deeply about, and indeed have an enormous amount of it behind me. We're talking about the Permanent Way Institution and its future name change. Everyone, before we do that, I must say, of course, RailNatter only happens because of the patron supporters, particularly those in the £5 and above tier. So thank you to those people. Everyone, welcome to tonight's RailNatter. And as the Intercity 225 fades away, look at it go. Isn't it beautiful? Yes, we are here to talk about the wonderful Permanent Way Institution. This institution is old. I'm not going to get too much into the weeds of the history because rather unusually, there's about a 10-minute, very beautiful, sort of edited together segment, which will go into lots and lots of other fun stuff. Here it is. This is the logo that is in the fact. So first of all, let's get my big face. Hello, everyone. For anyone who there might be some of you coming here watching this a skeptic of this. A good chunk of you coming here have absolutely no idea what any of this is on about, and hopefully you'll learn something in the process about an institution I care very much about. But I mean, you can see behind me here on my bookshelf are a series of books, understanding track engineering right the way back to British Railway Track. This is the first edition. British Railway Track. Here it is. Design, Construction and Maintenance. And this first edition here is compiled by a committee of the Permanent Way Institution, edited by R.A. Hamlet, BSc, Associate Eminst C. Because it's a civil engineer, because at the time we didn't do professional registration. This is published by the institution in 1947. This is the first edition of the British Railway Track book, 1947, that you can see there. And you can see at the top the logo that I took a picture of a second ago. This is an institution that's extremely important. What it does, well, I'll get into in a second, once I put my book back. But behind me, you can see that I care very deeply about this institution, have a lot of its literature scattered behind. In fact, this shelf, apart from having a load of lanyards, tickets, and some Lego track engineers, and of course the important gold spray paints, this is many Permanent Way Institution PWI journals, which are just absolutely chock full of information. You go to the old ones and they're a fascinating slice of history, but the contemporary ones are absolutely the cutting edge of, crucially, railway engineering, because we have a problem. The Permanent Way Institution has a problem, and that is that we are, well, I mean, fundamentally, it takes 10 minutes to explain what the Permanent Way Institution is, because much as I would love, as indeed was my position until fairly recently, to convince the whole world what Permanent Way is and means, and that it isn't just track, and that it refers to a lot more than that. Why do that? Why not do the quicker thing, which is use language that people already communicate with to each other, and not just people within the industry, but people beyond the industry as well. I'm apparently carrying my hard drive. Don't worry about it. So, the Permanent Way Institution. here it is today, the PWI, looking fairly snazzy. And I've been involved for a long time in the PWI. Here's me shaking hands with a beard with, I'm not shaking hands with a beard. I have a beard. I'm shaking the hands of Rob Davidson from York, actually, who is an Arkwright Engineering Scholarship awardee back in 2018, I think. I've been involved in the PWI as a section secretary for years, and then within the York section, which became the Yorkshire section when it incorporated West Yorkshire. I'm now the chair of the West Yorkshire section. This is my opportunity to say this is me as an individual talking, not as an affiliate or indeed, I am a member. This is a member's impassioned plea to the masses, but not from a position of authority within the PWI. But I've been involved for a very long time. Whether it's me involved in my local section and doing bits and pieces, helping organise events, regionally and nationally. Whether it's me teaching, I've been teaching at the Permanent Way Institution for years now. Look, it's me in Milton Keynes, looking excited before I run and jump on an Avanti. Or whether it's, there's Louise, who is now section secretary of the Yorkshire section. Shout out to Louise, who's brilliant. Here she is presenting about stuff she's learned as a TME. Anyway, these things, the seminars, this is how many people interact with the Permanent Way Institution, is going to the evening seminars. There are lots of different sections across the UK, across the UK and Ireland, actually, and beyond, in fact. We have sections all over the place, most notably in Bengaluru, actually, in India. And it continuing to expand. So it's funny because we were originally international, then we sort of split back, and then now we're becoming international. We're all over the place. But the point is that it's as an institution, the PWI does a lot of things, and within those section meetings, you cover all sorts of things. It's not all ancient history, such as New York Flat Crossing here. In fact, that image is, I've got a tin above me up here, which has a lot of slides from this renewal, which was the 1960s renewal. Well, no, what is that? A delta? Yeah, it'd be the 60s renewal. So the 1960s renewal of New York Flat Crossing. Or other forms of ancient history, such as Graham Bunker here on behalf of Railtrack, talking about this project here that's called the Transpennine Route Development. Fascinating. Anyway, back in 2001. Yeah, because we cover all sorts of that stuff. Ancient history, you name it, we're covering it. But it's not all about ancient history. We have, the journal is absolutely the cutting edge. Oh, wait a minute. That's half my face is missing. The journal is absolutely at the cutting edge of rail engineering technologies, and crucially, as an institution, we have made great leaps and bounds in the last 5 years. It's been a 10-year project. David Packers, the previous CEO, now Stephen Barber, continuing that legacy of absolutely professionalizing the professional institution, turning it into a professional institution so that you can become chartered, you can get incorporated or EngTech as an engineer through the PWI. A far better process, by the way, than all the other institutions. Strongly recommend it, and much cheaper than the IC, and they actually do stuff for you, unlike the IC, but it's another story entirely. The journal itself, just constantly fascinating stuff, but the key thing I want to say is it's not just track engineers. We've had electrification engineers being incorporated in, an absolute natural home for electrification engineers, but others are joining: lineside, drainage, earthworks, electrification and plants. So all those other bits of the E&P folk who aren't electrification specifically. Suddenly it's like, well, actually we are a home for all these things. We have engineers who are rolling stock engineers, but are dealing with, do a lot of, for example, yellow plant machinery. So the actual plant side are interested in being members of the PWI over other institutions. We are an institution that is making a huge effort to be as open, engaged and diverse as possible. We're always at Rail Live, always worth a drop in if you're there. But we're bumping against the ceiling a bit, particularly for those who have joined within the last decade or so, including the large number of electrification engineers for whom the name of the institution does not feel like it represents them. It does not feel like it represents them. And so back in November 2023, I believe, this is me sat in the front of one of the conferences. I just delivered a load of stuff about climate change, I think. Me, getting excited, jumping around. But the evening before, I'd been given a challenge by Kate Hatwell, who is one of a team who ensure that the institution works. But Kate particularly is worth just saying. A big shout out to Kate, who's a legend. and the institution wouldn't survive without her. She's brilliant. And she prodded me on the shoulder and said, look, you know about this. And up to this point, I was sort of thinking, no, we can convince people about what permanent way means. We can convince people about the permanent way institution, and that permanent way description describes everything. We don't need to change the name. Kate convinced me otherwise. Believe it or not, I can change my mind. I can have my mind changed by people who understand the problem and, crucially, understand how to tackle it. And Kate absolutely made that case to me. And she said, go away and have a think. What would you call it? And so I pulled together a slide deck, and my slide deck now holds, don't get too excited yet, because this isn't what the name will be, just a spoiler alert. But I pulled it, I basically in the shower, went through 1,000 iterations in full ADHD mode in my head, and I came up with the Institution for Railway Engineering, IRAELE. Felt beautiful, felt perfect. I kind of had a little play with the sort of the sort of graphics from the talk I'd just given at the conference, to sort of think, is it legit? Yeah, it looks kind of legitimate, it looks good, I thought, against the other kind of railway professional institutions, how, does it work? Does it fit? Yeah, okay. Institution for Railway Engineering. That feels good. And crucially, as I thought this through, there are several really important parts of this that felt extremely important to pick out and to get basically things that we needed to. Let me just pick white. Things that explain that things that had to be met by any new name of the institution. The first was the kind of the key point, really, which is that expanding the common understanding of the permanent way beyond track is an impossible task, particularly if you consider the need for us to reach beyond the industry to politicians and the public. It's the fact that any new name needs to be simple, durable, and unrestrictive. It cannot be a name that instantly is out of date. It has to work for the way that people use language now, but it also has to work for what the institution might be in 10, 15, 20 years. An absolutely crucial one was that infrastructure as a word must be avoided. It is horrible, clunky jargon, falsely restrictive, as railway engineering must necessarily include consideration of vehicles and vehicle dynamics, such as for gauge clearance, wheel interface, contact wire pantograph interface, platform train interface. Also, crucially, the word infrastructure is basically an invention of the financial industry and the financial sector to describe assets that can be financialized. So you know what? We don't need to put infrastructure in there. It's frankly a pointless and redundant word to use in a name like this. The next one that's really important is the use of engineers. So the ability to use the word engineers rather than engineering is exclusive. It excludes people because people practice engineering, belong to our institution, but don't reflexively see themselves as engineers. And that includes planners, managers, all sorts of other people. What's nice with this, what was nice with this, was that it gave us a nice contraction. IRAELE gave the institution an instantly recognisable shorthand and post-nominals, and there was an enormous opportunity as a result of this name change to step up our status, positioning us as the primary professional institution for railway engineering. That's right, folks. It's not a land grab. We just are the primary professional institution for railway engineering in advance of the Rail 200 celebrations. This was a massive, massive opportunity, and it was extremely exciting. And everything was being lined up, in the journal. It was January 2024, our 140-year anniversary, and it was being trailed there. Look, Institution for Railway Engineering. It was exciting. It was time. The slide deck that I gave, I think, ended up being presented to the board. They built their buy-in. Others were also strongly making the case. It wasn't just me who was making the case. I think others had set upon a similar, if not identical, name. Pete Dearman is someone who felt very strongly as this as an electrification engineer. It was happening. It was exciting. We were getting there. And then we hit a snag. There were challenges, a variety of interesting challenges that I won't get into the messy nitty-gritties of, but one particular professional institution wasn't happy. And rightly, the PWI stood back, looked at the name that I'd proposed, having thought of it in the shower, and came up with a new one. Basically a realization that there were things that there was too much of a closeness between one other institution and that name, and it was the right thing to do to step back, have a think. Was it the end of it? Hell no.
Our next chapter, rooted in our past, focused on our future. Over the last 3 years, our institution has been on an important journey. A journey of reflection, consultation, and evolution that's given us a clearer understanding of the role we play and how we can serve our members and our industry even better. Through surveys, workshops, and wide-ranging feedback, we've seen clear themes emerge, pointing to a shared call for positive growth, greater accessibility, and a better reflection of the wide scope of modern railway engineering. We've developed a stronger sense of purpose, a more inclusive strategy, a refreshed identity, and, crucially, a new name to take us into our next chapter. We're ready to move forward while recognizing the strength of being rooted in our past. Rooted in our past. In 1884, in the railway city of Nottingham, a group of dedicated railway inspectors responsible for maintaining the way and works came together and founded the Permanent Way Institution. At a time when Britain's railways were booming, the PWI aimed to improve the knowledge and expertise of those constructing and maintaining the railway system, known then as the Permanent Way. Early meetings featured practical demonstrations, technical papers, and site visits. And as different railway companies emerged, the PWI helped standardise methods and share innovations. Throughout the 20th century, especially during the era of British Rail, the PWI supported its members, providing regular opportunities to learn and share knowledge, and in doing so, driving the professional development of the workforce. Today, building on this legacy, we're a vibrant, growing professional engineering institution with over 4,000 members, working across so many areas of railway engineering, not just track. People from all disciplines and backgrounds benefit from our services, and our welcoming community brings people together to share knowledge, learn from each other, and build rewarding railway careers, just like our founders set out to do over 140 years ago.
It's a great way to get exposure to people with a lot more experience than me in the industry.
I've really built up quite a professional network, and I really enjoyed the journals. That's something I've got a lot of value out.
It's just something that I really enjoy being part of. I like to give back to it because it's given me so much.
A really good place to make contacts and find out what's happening in the industry.
As an institution, it brings railway industry together. All disciplines can collaborate and share information, because we're not just civil engineers, we're not just mechanical engineers or electrical or drainage engineers, we can be anything.
It's a space for people that work in my industry to meet and network, and it's an opportunity or a space where I feel like we can all sort of connect in a way.
Focused on our future. In all of our research, surveys, and consultation, one thing's been evident, and that's the affection and high regard our members have for the institution and everything it stands for. But what this consultation period has also told us is that there's still work to do to make sure we're fit for purpose and ready to meet the future needs of the railway engineering industry. And a key part of that evolution is our proposed name change from the PWI to Rail EI, the Railway Engineering Institution.
To our younger members, I tend to find that the term Permanent Way conjures up ideas of a Victorian society almost, rather than a modern engineering institution.
Before knowing the name of PWI, I thought that PWI is mostly for the civil engineers, because its names comes with PW, so it's P-Way. One of my friend who worked for TfL, he is on the path of getting chartership, and I had a conversation with him. He said me that they're gonna change their name. I think it will be a great initiative because it will change the misnomer kind of mindset in the people. it will be more attractive to the new upcoming professionals in the railways.
So I think the rebrand is a good thing, because I think the PWI itself has become a victim of its own name, whereby it doesn't encompass other railway systems. So I think becoming the Railway Engineering Institution will kind of broaden horizons and attract more people.
So I think the challenge is to keep growing the membership base, getting new engineers in, like I was when I was young. No one anymore calls it the permanent way, so I can see that barrier, but equally I quite like it because it's got that tie to history.
I came to this event expecting it to be primarily track, permanent way, but to even just learn from my colleague that it's not just that, it's all the disciplines surrounding the track as well. I think it would be a good change of name to allow for that.
So I think it would be good to change the name, and I quite like the Railway Engineering Institution because I think it does broaden out what the PWI stands for now and its inclusivity across the rail industry. But I am quite a traditionalist as well, and I quite like the heritage and the history of the PWI, and I think that it does have respect within the industry too.
I absolutely understand people's concerns around the name change, especially when they've had a long relationship to the words PWI or permanent way. And I would want to say to them, we're not diminishing the past. We're not saying it wasn't important. Absolutely. We're transforming to relate to today.
I used to be of the view that you could convince people, you could tell people, you could shout from the rafters, from the rooftops, this is what the permanent way is, this is what it means. And then I realised that that's hopeless. Far better is for us to actually harness the language that the public use, and that's where we get the strength from using RailAI. For those who fear, though, that we're going to lose that legacy, they don't need to worry about that, because everyone who is behind using RailAI is super passionate about that legacy, super passionate about ensuring that we hold on to everything that we've learned, all that heritage, and actually just use that to bounce off forwards to being something even bigger for the future.
The member vote. In response to all the valuable insights gained through our research, the board is proposing a new name for our institution, one that truly reflects the people we serve and the purpose that drives us, a name that honours the vision of our founders while giving us the clarity and relevance we need to grow and thrive in the years ahead.
To move on, to be relevant in today's world, the institution needs to make it much clearer that it's about railway engineering, not just about track engineering. And because of that, we are proposing to change the name of the institution. That decision will fall to our membership. We're a democratic institution, our members need to vote in favour, but the board has a very clear rationale for what it's proposing, and we would like to go forward as the Railway Engineering Institution because we think that name best describes the nature of our institution.
We believe becoming the Railway Engineering Institution will directly benefit each and every one of us, including you. You'll be part of an instantly recognisable professional engineering institution. By appealing to a broader, more diverse range of skilled railway people, we'll bring you more opportunities to connect, learn and collaborate. It will reinforce your professional competence, your credibility and your commitment to railway engineering. You'll be part of a wider railway engineering community, keeping you connected to what's happening across the UK and around the world. And you'll be helping to build a stronger, more influential institution, one that's recognised as a trusted, authoritative voice for our industry. This is a unique opportunity. This is your chance to shape the future of your institution, making it even stronger and more relevant for the generations who'll take our railways forward. Before the end of this year, we'll be holding a members' vote, where it's vitally important you have your say on this great opportunity ahead of us. The name change will only go ahead if at least 75% of votes are in favour. So please, take part, cast your vote, and help us start our next chapter even stronger. To find out more about the vote and why the name change is so critically important to us all, visit the Our Next Chapter section of our website today.
Well, you look at that. Yeah. So that's the kind of the 10-minute pitch. And I wanted to play the whole thing in full because it's a great video. A lot of work has gone into it. And I think it very neatly captures the whole story. Actually, there's already interesting questions going on. It's hello to everyone in the chat, by the way. RailAI is what's nice about this. So Railway Engineering Institution, it's better than my name for a variety of reasons. But firstly, because it's got fewer words in it. The order of the words, we kind of were forced to reassess and came up with this name, but I think this is a better name than my name that I came up with because it has fewer words, therefore it's, for me, more efficient, more effective. There was an interesting question that said, what's the difference between institute and institution? An institute is a thing founded with a specific purpose, like an institute, like the Francis Crick Institute, working on a specific thing, for example. Whereas an institution generally refers to a broad collection of people associated with a broad collection of ideas. So that's the difference between an institute and an institution. It's about scope. There is, someone else has asked, I'm curious, what's wrong with PWI being about railways as well? Well, the point is that it isn't for the people who are in the institute. Like, if the name of an organization should be understood instantly. The name should be the thing. If you hear the name, you should know exactly what it is. And when you meet someone who doesn't know about railways, or maybe they more often than not do know about railways, and you say, well, I'm a member of the Permanent Way Institution, or I'm a member of the PWI, you then spend 5 to 10 minutes explaining what that is. When actually, if it's called the Railway Engineering Institution, no explanation is needed because it describes exactly what we are and what we do. And that's important. It's why I've changed the stupid Riddick name to Test Tracks, because you should call the thing what people can instantly recognize what you're describing. If I say, oh, Riddick, the Railway Innovation Development Centres, people are going to go, in the most part, if they don't know what it is, they're like, what? Whereas if you Test Track, people instantly know what that is. It's the same with this. If you say the Railway Engineering Institution, people know exactly what that is. It's just it's an absolute clear no-brainer. So isn't the term engineering restricted in many territories? It is. The point here is that we are a professional engineering institution, so we are part of the Engineering Council. We are affiliated with the Engineering Council. We therefore, if engineering became a protected title in the UK, which there are arguments for and against, it would. The key thing is that it would we'd be lined up for that. But there's a really good point that Stephen Barber made, actually, our current CEO, that I think is something that I'm incredibly proud of the PWI versus the Institution of Civil Engineers, for example, which is that they have always gate-kept their institution as something for essentially an elitist group of engineers. It's very much an inaccessible club. You go in there and you've got all the old names around. I have to say, the history is interesting and it's great that this legacy is associated with it. But it's very much that feeling of, this is for engineers, don't you know? Whereas the PWI has always been for everyone associated with railway engineering, with track engineering, with other forms of engineering associated with the railway, independent of whether you are an engineer trained in an elite institution or whether you've been shoveling ballast and learned how railways work that way. And that is something that I'm immensely proud of, the PWI. And again, I think being called the Railway Engineering Institution will enhance that. It'll add gravitas to those people who've worked hard to gain their Eng Tech or their iEng or eventually their C-Eng through the RailAI, but also does not lift up a gate, does not bring up the barriers to people. So that's something that I remain extremely proud of, the PWI, and I was Stephen really beautifully elaborated that point. You could probably go on YouTube and find some of his presentations. He's been touring the country, kind of doing a bit of a Q&A session about this. So for me, Railway Engineering Institution with the nominals, you have your post nominals of RailAI, so you'd be M RailAI or C RailAI or I RailAI, etc. Proud Amphitrust PWI member, exactly. Barry and Home Guard. That is such a deep cut for the people who've come to this having never watched RailNata or anything else, and they're like, "What is that? What are you on about? Greek? What?" Yes. Somewhat. LNRW1 is saying, "I'm looking at becoming a driver, but I might get the railway sideburns anyway." Well, exactly. Yes. So there we go. well, we're going to be, so PWI, so yeah, people asking about the logo, or, well, there's a reason. I showed my old versions of what I thought were potential identity. I'm actively not going to show what a potential future identity might look like for Rail AI, because I don't want to compromise what will be a process of actually coming up with that properly, should the vote go through, which I really bloody hope it does. The thing that the thing is, firstly, will be like formerly known as PWI for a while in that kind of transition, as our, not least as lots of our stuff will still have PWI. All of our like the chain. Have I got the chain behind me? Let's get it. There we are. Look at this old box, very nice old box here. I'm gonna open the box here, and in here is my chain. I don't think any of the other sections have a chain like this. It refers specifically to the York section's founding in 1898. There it is, PWI. We're not going to melt down all of our various bits of paraphernalia like that. We absolutely still retain that history, that legacy, and are extremely proud of it. I'm not going to put the chain on in Rail Match. It feels like an abuse of power. Although I never wear the thing. It's just nice to. It's it's something. If I go to a fancy dinner, I'd wear it, but I never go to fancy dinners. So maybe next time at the thing is, the National Rail Awards is a bit for wearing a fancy chain. Anyway, yeah, that's very proudly on my PWI shelves. That Ross melting at, all that legacy stays. It's not like we could go Control-A-Delete on everything that's got those wonderful logos on it. I love the PWI logo. I think it's brilliant. It's a really nice logo. I think it stands the test of time quite nicely as a modern ident. But we have an opportunity to do something different. It might be that we incorporate that into the new logo. Who knows? Yeah, exactly. Rigor Mortis is saying we all learn in different ways at different speeds. Some don't get books, some don't get practical hands-on, all about getting to acknowledged level of knowledge. And that's what PWI is all about, and what the Rail AI will continue to be all about is, we provide an accessible way for everyone in all their different backgrounds, an ability to get access to that knowledge. We are, I talk about it in books, professional institutions are about, they're the protectors of knowledge, but also, crucially, they are the fonts of knowledge. They are the way to collect and share that knowledge. It's not about armor plating it and hiding it. Are the Institute for Economic Affairs or the Adam Smith Institute real institutes? No, they're not. No, they are absolutely not. Yeah. So right, let's press on. So that is the new name. Railway. I mean, that's unambiguous. What that means, everyone knows what a railway is. Engineering. It's inclusive to people who are not actually, professional engineers necessarily, or not necessarily kind of chartered engineers or professionally registered engineers. It can cover all sorts of other people who are active within the sphere of railway engineering. And we are very proud to continue to provide that open access for anyone who has that interest in engineering as a discipline. And the fact that we are an institution. We are recognised trusted licensee of the Engineering Council alongside 38 other licensed PEIs. It does what it says on the tin. This name does what our current name no longer can. It tells people who we are, what we do, and why they should get involved without needing an explanation. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you'll notice all the fancy slides here, ones that have been done in. The logo is so gloriously Victorian. Yes, these are all the. They've all been done. Well, you say that, but if I briefly go big face, look, if I pick up, say, the 4th edition, you can see that we start modernising the thing. So it's quite a durable. It's quite a durable sort of logo. Do you see what I mean? Like whether that disappears, whether it gets replaced, I don't know. But it's not being got rid of, is it? Put that one up there very, very carefully. I do have the famous blue and yellow one. This is the most famous one because it's like when consultancy really around privatisation time. This one started being the one that everyone took with them from nationalised to privatised consultancies. So. Let's crack on. So it's not just a name change. This is about creating this identity that really reflects who we are. And the key thing is that yes, there are some dissenters about this, a very small number of active dissenters, but potentially a large number of quiet dissenters who are less sure about this. But they are track engineers. They're not electrification engineers. They're not drainage engineers. They're not in the diverse range of other backgrounds who are involved in rail engineering. And it's very difficult. I just have yet to hear a good argument against it. I was someone who was against it. Kate talked me around, and all of a sudden I just had this realization of course, of course, yeah, absolutely. it's obviously the right thing to do. Like, it's baffling we haven't done it already. This is just it's a natural progression in the professionalization of the PWI and what we do. It's exciting. So there's a vote coming. No, wrong. There's not a vote coming. The vote is open now. I just voted like 20 minutes ago. 47 minutes ago, because it was exactly 10 minutes before the episode that I voted. Typical me style. How do you do that? Well, firstly, you have to be a member of the professional. You have to be a member of the PWI, firstly, because it's a members only thing. But if you're a student, free membership. So take note, everyone watching this, if you're a student and you're a railway engineer of some kind, or intend to be or hope to be, you can join for free as a student right now and vote. That's a thing you can do. You can have your say. If you're in any way involved in rail engineering and you think that being a member of the PWI is something that, the Rail EI is something that is for you actually, and that you like the idea, you like the sound, you like the idea of what we do, and you're intrigued or interested, it is not just for engineers. Key point, it is not just for engineers. It is for anyone and everyone involved in railway engineering. And as I've talked about on Rail Natter a million times, engineering is not just nuts, bolts, technical drawings. It is turning ideas into reality. That is what engineering is all about. So you will have received an email if you're a member already, and if you aren't a member already, you will, if you become a member, you will receive the email. You should receive the email. You will, if you're a member with a current membership, you will get. Yeah, you can't vote. You can't join now and vote. I'm just saying you could, because that'd be gerrymandering. But you can become a member and get involved, certainly. Anyway, every member of the current membership will get a vote on the name change. Voting opened yesterday and will remain open for a 4-week period. If you don't have email or the internet, you can get a postal vote. But everyone here, you're watching this, which means you have the internet, which means you can go online and vote. This is the tricky bit, we need 75% or more of votes to be cast in favour for the special resolution to pass. That's nuts. We should have done it with Brexit as well, shouldn't we, folks? Anyway, full details on how to vote will be emailed to you and sent in the post. The name change will only go ahead if at least 75% of votes are in favour. Crikey. This is such a key point. 75% of all votes cast need to be in favour of the proposed name change for the resolution to pass. This frightens the willies out of me, because this requires some serious involvement of everyone. Yeah. If it doesn't go through, it's going to be so dispiriting, because it will likely end up with I hope it doesn't, but it may well end up with a splitting, and the electrification engineers will feel kind of abandoned. They'll kind of feel like this. Well, okay, this isn't our home after all. Then that's kind of a bit rubbish. It would be extremely frustrating. It'd be extremely frustrating if it doesn't go through. It would just feel really like a vote against a lot of positive work that's been done by HQ, by the board, by members, by sections, by volunteers across the board. There's been a lot of stuff getting us to the point where as the Rail Engineering Institution, one of the key things that we'll be able to do is, and we'll do more of, and as I get more and more involved at more and more senior level of the Rail EI, I'll be pushing this point harder and harder, is that we should be a very visible force advocating for the good that railways can do in a way that the industry is frankly incapable of doing itself. We can lead that charge and perhaps spur others into action on that front. And by being called something that politicians know what that means instantly, rather than being called something that they don't and can dismiss as like a learned society or something, we will have legitimacy. Changing the name will give us legitimacy that we do not have today. Being called the Railway Engineering Institution will give us an enormous legitimacy that we simply lack today. And it's it's as fundamental as that. Names are important. Why 75% is that in your governing document? It's very standard for an emergency motion like this to have a 75% supermajority requirement. But yes, lots of things are in all of our kind of companies' house sort of detailed records and all the fancy stuff that admin people have to keep on top of that I'm extremely bad at. But yeah, within our papers, it goes into the details of what has to be done for this change to happen. What's three-word answer? Wait, what's the three-word answer here? The logo is Seprosphere. I don't know what the context for your statement is, but for the three-word answer, no, they're not. Yeah, possibly. Permanent Way sounds rather niche, like a subset. Yeah, well, exactly. It's just not well understood, and it's a very, as we do more stuff internationally, it's a very UK, very GB phrase. You know, and it's just outdated. Like, it doesn't mean that we lose the legacy of that phrase. Even, you know, I've been a defender of that phrase, and I use it regularly, and continue to, and shall continue to. But it's just, we don't need. Why are we needlessly limiting what people's interpretation of us is? Let's go through some kind of useful reasons. So the key reasons why this matters to you as a member, but also to you lovely lot who aren't members and are just interested. You'll be part of an instantly recognisable institution. Yeah, no confusion, no need to explain. You belong to a broad, diverse rail engineering community. It shows that we serve all railway disciplines, that you're part of something bigger, absolutely. You'll have more opportunities to connect and collaborate. The new name will attract new members. We have done work into this, research into this. Someone challenged us, said, well, have you done research into how many people will leave if the name change happens? No one will leave if the name change happens. Even the people who are grumpy about it changing won't leave. So no one's leaving the institution if the name change happens. And indeed, we have corporate members who say we can't sponsor you at a corporate level and allow you to do more things because you're seen as track and we're not track. So it's really key that we change our name from a financial long-term resilience perspective as well. You'll be part of a stronger global network, not just a UK one. Absolutely. Really important that our name becomes clearer and more understandable on an international platform, not just on a UK platform. You'll have professional credibility and competence reinforced. Absolutely. You'll have Rayleigh, Fraley, all these fun post-nominals to strengthen your reputation and so on. You'll be able to shape a bigger, more influential institution. This is what I've been talking about. We'll be recognised as a trusted, authoritative voice for the railway industry, and frankly, one that can fight the rail industry's corner because nobody else is bloody doing it. You'll be represented by an institution that's passionate about rail engineering as you are. Yeah, absolutely. The new name will help us raise the profile of rail engineering and advocate for our members accordingly. And also within the wider professional engineering community, we will become the single source of truth for rail engineering matters. It's as simple as that. It's just it legitimizes us massively. If you are curious, by the way, if you're a member or even if you're not a member, there are drop-in surgeries happening every Wednesday. Online drop-in surgeries. You can scan the code. You can join online on those Wednesdays at midday. There was one today, I think, and there'll be one next week. 1 hour questions. You know, things that you can answer. You can do all these things, ask questions, and make yourself happy about why this is a good idea. But what happens once the vote is cast? If the vote is in favour, then great. There'll be a bit of a transition period. We'll be formally known as the PWI. There'll be updates of all the kind of documentation and so on and so on. If the vote is against, we continue as the PWI. We respect the democratic process. I shout loudly quite a lot. And we will reflect on what people think. It's going to be if it's a 70% vote in favour, it's going to be a bit sticky, to be honest. I'd have preferred a 50-50, but you know, either way, I'm nervous. Hopefully, it's a massive unanimous vote in favour. But if you are a PWI member watching this, please do it right now. Go in and vote. I will be giving detailed instructions as to how to vote momentarily. Here he is. Look, we have international appeal, and the Permanent Way Institution is not suddenly going to lose its legacy, all the wonderful sort of, the incredible legacy that we've got. Yes, that is Roz with another copy because I have I purloined and purchased an additional copy of what I think is possibly the prettiest edition of, fourth edition of Design, Construction and Maintenance. I think it's the prettiest version, so I have given Roz that copy, which is now in the United States of the America that they have. So it is, that legacy ain't going away anytime soon, and we should be rightly proud of it. What a beautiful man he is. Anyway, the key thing is that beautiful as track is, and wonderful as track is, if we stay as the PWI, we will be restricting our vision, our how we are perceived, not just in the industry, but crucially publicly, because it's the public that actually are the best lens through which to view how legitimate our organisation is. And The public don't know who we are. They don't know what we are. And they never will unless we change our name. And I think that's really important. It doesn't deny the beauty of what we were, but it points us in the right direction and ensures that we can actually whip government into, I mean, physically with you know, bricks and mortars and flamethrowers and such things. Government into realizing that railways are an absolutely necessary part of building a country that works for everyone, and doesn't collapse in on itself within a decade, because that's currently our trajectory. And we need a strong voice to fight that corner, and I think that the Rail AI can be that voice. So, when it comes to voting, thou shalt cross the Rail EI box. It's time. This is not... the PWI might be a democracy, but Rail Natter is not a democracy. Thou shalt vote for bloody Rail AI, and don't be all don't be all controversial and say, well, Gareth said, I'm gonna just vote the opposite way because he said so. Don't be that guy. Go out, check your email inboxes and get voting to make it happen. I'll give some more details about voting in a minute. I just want to give a little tease for the bonus because tonight's bonus is going to be about diverting the Cambrian. Climate change, talking of which, is obliterating a bit of railway. Already several towns have been just accepted as that's the end of that. You're done. Climate change has claimed you, and we're not even going to build sea defences. We're just going to, Fairborn, for example, we're just going to abandon you to the sea. Unfortunately, the railway is right next to it. So what does that mean for the railway that continues to get battered and battered harder and harder? Well, we can have a little look at what that means for the railway in a snappy wee bonus episode, and you get access to that bonus if you are a £5 and above Patreon subscriber. Thank you to those lovely people. The bonus episodes have started to build a good little following now, actually, which is great. Diverting the Cambrian. There you go. That will be at 9:30 tonight, so in 50 minutes from this precise moment. So, the name change. How do you vote? What do you do? If you're a member, you get one vote. How does it work? You must check your spam is what you need to do first. Thou shalt check your spam to make sure that the ruddy thing actually, the email actually appears in your inbox. But you will receive an email that looks like this. This is being run by CES, so it's all bona fide. All members of the PWI are being asked to vote on one of the most important decisions in our institution's recent history, to change our name to become... Wait a minute, let me just make sure I don't dox the key bits of stuff that I need to cover up. Yes, I forgot to put little boxes over some of the codes that are my voting code. I mean, I voted already, so it wouldn't make a difference, but let's not risk it. I want to do this. Wait a minute. Well, what do you mean I'm editing on the fly? Have you ever come to Rail Natter before? Oh, some of you may not have. Welcome to Rail Natter, everyone. This is what happens. So that all looks bona fide. That all looks bona fide. Yeah, fine, good. You will click that link, and it will bring you to this page. And in this page, you'll have that link that you have in your email is personalized to you. It will autofill the little voting login thing at the bottom. You will click login at the bottom here. So this thing down here, you will click login here. You'll click login. Having clicked that, there's some information there. Having clicked that, you'll be taken to the voting page. And for those who've just been saying, I'm sad when there's a vote without an abstain option, nobody shall be clicking the abstain choice. So don't do that. What you need to do is click the for button. Everyone who's watching this, anyone who's a PWI person, you need to click the for button. If you are not sure, what you need to do is click the for button. If you disagree, what you need to do is literally get my phone number and we'll have a phone chat. If you don't agree about Rail AI, let's have a phone chat. There are no better names out there. I promise you. Raphael, you're not convinced, but I promise you there is no better name out there. And then you click next page, and this gets you to confirm. You know what would be funny is if embarrassing if I'd voted against, wouldn't it? That the name of the permanent institution to be changed to Rail Engineering Institution. Vote for. Then you click submit. It says thank you for voting. You click log out. Job done. This is being run by what is it? Not Dignitas. What's the CES? They do like all sorts of like workplace stuff. They're basically they do loads of voting, so they're bona fide, and it means that people can't challenge the legitimacy of the vote. So it's all good. It's all bona fide. I think the kind of the key. There's a few. Yeah. Any questions, by the way? Chuck the questions in. I know it's been a tight focus on this subject matter, but I care extremely vigorously about this subject. And yeah, so far there's only one dissenter in the chat. DM me somewhere and we'll have a chat. But there is no better name out there. There is no better name. For all the previous mentioned reasons, no infrastructure, not engineers. It's good. So, what do you have to do? What you have to do is go to... Oh, if you want more information, by the way, you'll get the voting link will come through. So to vote, you have to wait for your email link, or you can do it in the post. But if you want more information, you can go to thepwi.org/about/our-next-chapter. You just Google it. Just Google PWI name change and you'll get the link at the top. And there's loads of information there. There's a huge Q&A with all sorts of information. I haven't got into it, but there is there's a fantastic range of stuff in there. Loads and loads of information. This has all been consulted on heavily, by the way. This hasn't just happened out of the blue. It's been consulted very heavily on. We had 600 people involved in the consultation. We had 143 individual members participating specifically in the name change consultation. It's been extensive work has gone into understanding this and making sure that this is right. And it certainly is right. It's time. It's time for this to happen. A bit of a nippier one, bit of an unusual rail matter but hopefully you'll understand that I care very deeply about this, and I care very deeply about this not because they're bugging me 150 quid of beer money to do this episode, which they're not. But by the way, if PWI, if you want to do that, I will not say no to 150 pounds of beer money. No, not for that reason, but because I think this is the right thing to do, and I know a thing or two about how to engage with the public on topics. I've changed a lot of minds on quite a few major public subject matters, so I kind of know how this stuff works now. And not only did I have a part in the name change at the start of the story anyway, way back in November 23, but like I have gone through a journey myself on this one, and I'm excited about the opportunities if we do this, but 75% is scary. So if you're a PWI member, go and vote. If you don't agree with the name change, come and speak to me or someone first before voting no, because give us a chance to change your mind. And if you are someone who is in the core of people who are extremely angry about this, your argument sounds that you never have a good argument against it. I've not heard a good argument against this yet, because the arguments of like, well, but about the legacy of it, they have. 75% of votes cast, not of all members. Yes, you're right, of course. The legacy remains, and we can be rightly proud of it, and I continue to be, which is why I have a Pandora clip above my head. Anyway, everyone, thanks for your patience on this one. A little deep dive into a narrow little subject matter for those who are more broad viewers, but hopefully still some interesting insights in there. If you want to know more about what the professional institutions do, then Google is your friend. But you can also come and catch up in the bonus episode in a few short minutes. In the meantime, everyone, take extremely good care of yourselves. Vote, vote, vote. Vote, 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 vote. Thou shalt vote. Thanks, found this quite informative. Good, I'm very pleased. It's bringing the organisation into the present. Absolutely. With that note, I don't think I can top that. Everyone, take very, very good care of yourselves. Vote, and I will see you next week. Cheerio!